What's up, Roadside History fans? I'm here just outside of beautiful Williams, Arizona. It's a small town just south of Flagstaff. Just west of Flagstaff. It's a great area with a lot of history here. The old Grand Canyon Railroad, the history of the foundation of this town, and of course, historic Route 66, which we'll talk about a little bit in this video. Let me give you a little background on Williams, Arizona and how it came to be. There was an old mountain man by the name of Old Bill Williams. And Old Bill Williams came into this area about 1876. By 1879, as other mountain men and other individuals came into the area, they decided that they wanted to start trapping and building companies. By 1880, the railroad had arrived, and by 1883, sawmills had arrived. Sawmills came in and stabilized the community. The rail town was rough. The miners and the mountain men were rough. So when the lumber mills came into the area, it solidified the area. They brought with them their families, and they solidified the town, and it became more of a family-friendly atmosphere. In time, about 1890, copper would be discovered just to the north of the town itself, just to the north of Williams. As copper came through and worked its way, the mining would end after only about a decade, and Williams seemed to be a town that was on the decline. But of course, there was that one aspect that started to be built in the 1880s. That aspect was known as the railroad. Some genius individuals got together and decided they would put together the rail lines and work their way up over to the Grand Canyon. And hence you have the birth of the Grand Canyon Railway, which is part of Williams, Arizona today. And tomorrow we'll be taking you on that railway all the way to the north rim of the Grand Canyon.
Once you arrive at the Grand Canyon Railway, you'll see multiple cars and multiple styles of cars. The depot is really cool as well. You'll have a conductor on your train who serves as a tour guide, as well as a musician, and you might even be greeted by some bandits.
The sheet I looked at this morning said there was only going to be 30 people in this car. That was a lie. It's good to have more faces. I have more fun I have. So yeah, I'm glad to have you all here.
I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the desert, man. I breathe that mountain air, man. Travel, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere.
One of the really cool things on our train ride was the difference in geography. We went from one area where you'd see pine trees and beautiful forest. You'll notice the steam coming off the steam engine there. From beautiful forest all the way into desert area, as you'll see here now in your picture. The landscape was really cool, and while we were in the desert, we were fortunate enough to see a wild herd of Mustangs just roaming about throughout the desert, minding their own business. The train conductor slowed the train down because these horses happened to be on the track as we got close. When you arrive at the Grand Canyon, there's plenty to see. There's so much to take in and so little time to do it. What you're looking at now is a picture into the great big hole that was created by millions and millions of years of erosion from the Colorado River. This is the south rim of the Grand Canyon. And while you're there, explore the many shops as well as businesses in the area. This one that we're in now is actually a photography shop that tells you a little bit about the discovery of the area as well as how they navigated the Colorado River and took these amazing pictures while they were there. After that, you can take a moment to step in the Grand Canyon Lodge and take a look around the lobby and see some of how pretty it is. On your way back, you'll see these incredible telegraph lines that line the way. I told you about the telegraph and the importance of the telegraph with the railway in my episode where we talked about Promontory Summit, Utah. While you're on your train ride home, you'll also be greeted by the bandits. These bandits will put on a great show in town in Williams while you're there, and I'll show you a little bit about that in the end. They're friendly bandits, but here they're coming on the train to quote-unquote rob us. What they're actually looking for is some tips, so dig deep in those pockets. On our way back, we saw this incredible rainbow I thought I'd share with you. I wondered if my pot of gold was on one of the ends.
In November of 1926, the Federal Highway Administration commissioned a highway to be built from Santa Monica, California, all the way to Chicago, Illinois. This highway was to take a more southern route to avoid the bad weather that comes in the winter times. The name of the route? Route 66. It's become famous in American history. It's a little over 2,400 miles long. In fact, I think it's 2,471 miles long, if my math is correct. I could be off, give or take 100 miles or so. Anyway, Route 66 became the major highway system that would link the western United States to the midwestern United States, while at the same time avoiding weather during winter storms. It was a great highway system. If you ever need a piece of nostalgia, get on it and ride part of it. You can't ride the entire Route 66 anymore because it's been decommissioned and new roads have come over it. However, you can ride much of it and many portions. As you come through on historic Route 66, you'll see there are many shops and places to stop and pick up souvenirs and think back to a time of yesteryear when Route 66 and America seemed to be different. If you ask the old timers, it was a better America. I don't know about that. But what I do know is, if you're looking for a piece of history, get on Route 66 and take a trip. I'm going to walk you around and show you some of historic Route 66. I'll also show you some clips on our drive from Route 66 as well into the town of Williams, Arizona.
We found this super cool shop along Route 66. It had this really cool car out front, this classic car that you're looking at here. It was really awesome to take a look at, but when we went in this shop boasts to have the world's largest Route 66 shield sign. They had all these other really cool signs. I picked up a couple for my garage that I could hang up, but when you come to the back of the store, you'll see this sign. It's got to be over 6 feet tall. It was pretty large. I took a couple of minutes to drop some coins in this to get a souvenir Route 66 pressed coin keychain, and after a few cranks on the wheel, sure enough, my keychain came out. I'm not sure what happened to it. I lost it along my way home, but it was still pretty cool. As you go down Route 66 in Williams, you'll come across several nostalgic little places. This is one with a classic car out front that looks like a gas station. And of course, don't forget the classic sign.
I'm here in the town of Ash Fork, which was a town that was created in the 1880s. It was a small town that benefited from the railroad that would come from Williams south. And because Ash Fork is located on the 35th parallel, it made it possible to open rail lines to get to the southern end of the state of Arizona, which would open up Prescott and other areas of the state as well. Ash Fork would become a town that would be bypassed and bygone. Over time, Route 66, which went right through the heart of this town as you saw coming in, Route 66 would lose its luster to Interstate 40, which would allow for commuters to bypass the town. In addition to that, the rail lines were moved about 10 miles in an opposite direction out of town, which then led to less and less traffic coming in. And eventually this once bustling community would subside into a small community.
Thanks for watching my channel today, and please like and subscribe. As you're watching the end of this episode, I'm taking you down Route 66 heading east back toward Williams, Arizona. After this clip, enjoy a brief view of the cowboy gunfight they show in Williams, Arizona.
Well, I know darn well it was you and that dummy Lucky that stole my money. Oh yeah? Yeah! Oh yeah? Yeah! Yeah who? Yeah!